Okay, guys, welcome back. So we're still joined by our good friend Gareth. We're going to talk a little bit more about set composition. We've done a lot on this stuff, but I still think there's probably more to be said. There's more information to be sort of given on how to put together your wedges, how to get them to transition from the irons into the kind of more specialty clubs, right? What do you tend to see with your players? I'd love to hear your insight in some of the various ways that they put their wedges together.
I think a lot of times we just have to talk about how the club is interacting with the turf. Right. That's where we started. Are you a digger? Are you a sweeper? And then we can kind of go in from there. And then, do you like to chip with a 60 degree or do you like to chip with a 56 degree? Like, what is your most commonly used club?
Yeah.
And the shots that maybe you struggle with, and then we kind of build it out from there.
And that's such an interesting thing because there is at times a designated category given to a player: digger, sweeper, neutral. Do you find your players are all of those things at times?
For sure, you have to be all of them.
Right. So which is more to the point that at that level, the versatility becomes the key.
Right.
And it's not just going, oh, if you're a digger, go over to those ones, or you're shallow, go over to those ones. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to be able to, I think years ago when we were talking about this before, everybody just goes and they think good players should have low bounce.
Yeah.
So give me 8 degrees on all of my wedges and I'll be good. But what that does is it doesn't give you any chance to maneuver or change around. You don't know, what if you play, what type of turf do you play on? Like, are you firm turf, or are you soft turf? What type of shots do you struggle with? I'd be asking a player, like, what is your nemesis?
Yeah.
What do you really, really have trouble with? And then this really set that wedge up to give you success.
Right.
Yeah.
Even just as you were saying that, I was thinking, what if you play on a course that's firm and fast, but has soft sand in the bunker? Now you're screwed. If you had all low bounces for your tight lies, that low bounce probably sucks in the soft sand, and vice versa. So even a well-conditioned course, it's not like you're band-aiding some wet course, firm course. You need the versatility probably even at one single course.
Was it Moria that plays the sort of 4 and the 14 degrees in our 4 in our lob wedge and 14 in our sand wedge?
Yeah, it gives her a range of different shots, so she can push her hands forward and get something that has a firm surface, and she can take it out to no bounce.
Right.
She can also open up her 60 degrees, add 6-8 degrees of bounce, so she's got a little bit of versatility. But if the conditions don't allow her to hit that club, then she goes straight to 56, high bounce, low strike on the face, lots of spin, can do lots of different things, works great out of the rough, believe it or not, where you grab your 60 from a rough shot, but you have to realize out of the rough the ball's going to jump up anyway.
Right.
So you go with the 56 with more bounce, it actually comes out pretty nice as well.
So we're going to run through not so much a fit, but we're going to hit all the different shots.
Yeah.
We've grabbed a full range of RTX 4s. We have it from 50 through to 60. All sorts of different bounces and grinds. Just looking at that one, we've got a kind of little sort of forward sort of grind on that one. We've got a little typical sort of C grind, M grind. Same there. We've got a little full grind with a little trail edge relief on the 54. We've got all sorts of different tools. I'm going to play about with all of them. And just get you to a bunch of different shots, Matty, and see what we see in the numbers. Okay, let's set a few shots.
Sure, let's do it.
What have we got there?
Well, this is just my 54.
Okay, what's your number?
120 is good.
20, yeah, good.
$115.
And the players that you've got, Gareth, again, how many of them are sort of transitioning straight away from pitch and wedge into gap wedge? Almost all of them into a specialty gap wedge. None of them are really staying with any, no, they want the full feedback that the blade gives them.
Yeah, that softer feel, like everybody, even, a lot of people get used to chipping with a 50, or 52,
And if they don't, they should.
They really should, because it's, the difference between even the way the ball speed comes off a pitching wedge versus one of these here is totally different, and you're going to have more predictability off a proper gap wedge than you will off the set makeup.
I think we talked about that. We did a video about exactly what you're saying, and I think the set wedge performed best on full swings because it retained the mishits a bit better.
Yeah.
But as you said, as soon as you start to chip with that conversation would be very different.
Yeah. Yeah, that was at CBX2. We saw such great results with those full shots.
That was one of them, yeah.
We questioned whether we would be able to have as many options when we...
Around the greens, right?
Yeah, we're around the green.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And with regards to sort of fitting and looking at other shafts and sort of options like that, do you think there's enough information out there on that stuff yet, or people are paying enough attention to how that flows?
No, I think even at the top level, the players don't really know. You know, they'll go to a tour rep that's standing there and say, it's too high.
Yeah.
And the tour rep goes, okay. And he comes back and he's like, try that. And they don't even know.
Yeah,
They're just like, okay, that looks good there, you know. Or
Okay, I'm going to give you 2 different 54s.
Sure, yeah.
So you've got your 54 and I'm going to give you 2 others.
Okay. Sounded good.
kind of expect that there, don't you, with the with that combination?
Yep.
Do I get to guess?
Okay.
You love this.
Do you feel like there's something
Yeah.
different going on?
Yeah, I won't guess, but yeah, I have a feeling.
Slightly different flight.
Mm-hmm.
I think I struck that second shot better. The first one may have been a shade heavy.
That probably sounded like the best one.
Was pretty good. I think the strike may have strayed a bit towards the toe,
Okay.
but I wouldn't say in a terrible fashion, just a bit.
So on all kind of, so in those first ones, what did you feel? What did you feel going on?
So the one that you took away, I felt like was a low bounce wedge, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I mean, just to kind of, we can see it a little bit in the two trajectories. The blue trajectory definitely launched under the, and obviously high bounce, low bounce, right?
Yeah.
Not a difficult one. But in terms of the launch and spin, we always see it. If we can influence the strike point on the head, where we're going to hit it slightly higher in the head, we're going to launch it higher, spin it less. We've seen the exact same thing as we always see. It's a reasonable amount. And again, playing with bounce, you can alter these numbers around an awful lot.
Very much so. So was it just bounce, or did this one is
50-10 moved to 54-14.
Okay, so this is the one that you bent weak.
And then 50-08 moved to 54-04, basically.
So both of them were bent weak.
So 50 was bent weak, 58 was bent strong.
Oh, sorry, 58 was the other one. Oh, okay, okay, gotcha. So that's why this one looks quite a bit straighter down the line. Gotcha.
So what about conditions that people play in? You know, like growing up, what if you're growing up in the UK versus North America here where it's perfect conditions? Is there one that you, as a fitter, would recommend for people to be using? When you look at the numbers from high to low bounce, even just from a trajectory standpoint.
Yeah, I think we always have to be mindful of turf conditions and where they play. And you know, obviously the more parkland style courses in North America will be favouring kind of mid and somewhat higher bouncy. If you go to somewhere really manicured and some of those low spots are really shaved, those are the places where you'll need a little bit less bounce. You'll need versatility on the grind, the ability to kind of tilt it on the toe like we talked about earlier, or lay it open.
Yeah, with the heel relief or however it might
all
be.
All those options. And everyone's doing such a good job now of giving you so many fitting options. I mean, we've got 6 bags of wedges over there, and if we can't help you with what's in there, then you know it's on us, not you.
True.
So,
yeah, very true.
So those are just little fitting sort of things. What do you tend to see, Gareth, from again a set composition standpoint? What do you see as a standard set progression now? Is it 50, 54, 58? Is it 56, 60, 55, 60?
I think it does vary quite a bit, but I would say it's probably still, I think everybody's still pretty traditional. 52, because everybody, you know, nobody thinks about, maybe I should have something different. Everybody's just sort of 52, 56, 60. Now, if the player is a shorter player, they'll probably opt for the 50, 54, 58,
Yeah.
drop the wedge, add the hybrid, or the 5 wood or the 7 wood or whatever options are. So you kind of, it depends what the player really needs, you know.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have, you know, it's hard to say, you know, because, you know, if you look at your strokes gained, you'll find more strokes gained around the green than
Yeah,
you
that's
would
true.
necessarily at 200 yards.
Yeah, true enough.
You know, because you're always going to be up and around the green, and for the average person, they're not supposed to hit the green anyway from 200 yards.
Yeah, your chances are pretty slim. Yeah.
Adding that extra club in there might not necessarily have the benefit, where if they had a good wedge system that would allow them to hit a 35, a 65, like we were talking, a 90, a 110 shot, the proximity they would get there would be much greater, so they'd get more opportunity to convert. They'd probably shoot a little bit lower scores.
Yeah.
Or the average player hits 3 to 4 greens around,
Right.
so they're chipping 14 times.
14 times. And how many hybrids do you hit from 205? Probably
So
twice, right?
think about just usage. So plain usage of it, you're going to have 14 attempts for the average guy who gets out there and only hits 4 greens around.
Yeah.
Even if you're an elite player, you're still on your bad days are going to miss 9, 10 greens.
Yeah.
You know, that's still 9 or 10 opportunities that you can obviously maximize if you have the right makeup here. So I think it's something that people need to look at and not just go 52, 56, 60.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, and I think as the iron sets have progressed into being faster and obviously stronger and lofted, we've tended to see and hear, I mean, this is a little bit different from obviously, you know, tour players, but we see lots of 50s. You
Yeah.
know, we see lots and lots of 50s.
Because pitching wedge is 45 in a lot of cases, right? You don't want
So,
7 degrees
I
between
know,
your
seven,
wedges.
seven's tough, and you know, that's, I think we probably do a lot of 50, 55, 60, 50, 54, 60. You know, sometimes if someone is a little bit scoopy, delivers too much loft, we might do 50, 54, 60. So we give them the 2 stronger options on the front, and we give them more loft in the back, because
Right.
they may struggle, you know, around the greens with.
Yeah, they just chip with it,
Yeah,
basically.
they may need that or like it. You want to do some 60-degree stuff? I wouldn't
Sure.
mind kind of investing. You know, RTX has got some cool, you know, really, really low bounds. They've got the 3-degree X low. We can play around with some of the other lofts and stuff.
Let's try
just to
some
create
partial
yeah,
shots.
I think it'll work off that 60, so no hiding that. But let's just watch how they change.
Sure. It's a bit soft, I think.
Okay.
Almost. Do it. Oh.
He's a good student.
Oh, yes. That was a good one.
I like that flick
Yeah,
there.
that's really nice. So what do you feel with between the two?
I feel like I'm making probably a little bit higher contact with this second one. Like contact feels a little bit better. I think I was probably a blend of a little inconsistent with the last one / maybe a little on the thinner side. This one I feel like I'm catching a little more flush, but the one that I hit fat didn't feel great, so.
You've got a little variance going on. Probably surprisingly, the lower bounce one is lunging lower with more spin in this one. Which is kind of almost the opposite of what we saw with the previous one.
Interesting. For what it's worth, I definitely felt like I made better contact with this one. I'm not sure if the bounce was helping with that or what it was specifically, but you would expect to see the strike move higher with this one and spin less, launch higher.
Well, what we did say was going to, 60-12 would probably be higher than you would like to play.
Okay, yeah.
60-03 is certainly lower than you would like to play.
Yes.
So we probably are dealing on two ends of the extreme where we know you're not going to live anyway.
For sure.
So probably 8 degrees of bounce, somewhere right between is probably your sweet spot with this.
Interesting that the pattern's a little different with the partial shot. I guess that's why you would need to make sure you do a full swing and a partial swing in a fit or in a lesson. Because I guess my tendencies must be a little different, I guess.
Yeah. So let's put a 60-08 together for you. Alrighty. So we've kind of tried an extra low bounce option, a high bounce option relative to what you would use. Not for a lot of people. 12
depends on the
isn't too
conditions.
much,
Could be fine, yeah.
but this is probably more in your wheelhouse here.
Okay. Better?
Yeah, closer. That was a nice trajectory there.
That's better. Yeah, because those last 3 are all quite good for distance.
And juicy one there.
There's a spinner.
Yeah, it's a lot for that length of shot, that's for sure. It's kind of played out the way you would hope it would, in a sense that the ball speed's fairly regulated. We've split the difference in the launch angle, so this is 31, the other ones were either side. And then the most backspin has come from the best contact.
I was just going to say, I think it's the one that's
kind of where you would hope it would
struck
shake
nice.
out, and there was some real good ones. Yeah, all around that 65 number.
It's really interesting. I mean, you're talking about 1,000 RPMs of difference. And not to say this is what it would look like for everyone. Someone with a different technique may have the high bounce be the best, but you could be wasting a ton of stopping power just by a wedge choice.
I would say between the best club I give someone versus the worst club that they hit, 1,000 is very realistic to see.
And that's, I mean, over the course of, even if you're not spinning it that much,
Well,
1,000 at less spin could be more like 20% of your spin. That's a lot.
Especially on a partial shot.
Yeah, because you want all that.
On a 65, you do, you would.
I want that
definitely
10,000
want
if you can get it.
As long as you're not 10,000 and then 8,500, it's
Right,
whatever
it has
you
to be the
deliver
same.
the most consistently to get the most consistent result.
Showing in that standard deviation number was the lowest with the medium bounce. It's a good indicator that contact was just better.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, well, I mean, there's a lot in there, a lot of food for thought for people, and hopefully it doesn't kind of have you scratching your head too much with regards to what you guys should do. I think the reality is go out and get fit. Go get a wedge fit. Go through and try, whether it be Vokey. Everyone's probably at some point owned a Vokey, but go try SM8. They're fantastic. Go try Mac Daddy 5. Go try MG2s, RTX4s. I mean, that's a great looking wedge.
It's a great wedge, yeah.
Super clean. Don't discount some of the more game improvement ones if you are a little bit more volatile with your strike. CBX2, Ping Glide is still our best seller here in the store. So there's so many options, but how do you guys ever pick the options when there's so many to choose from? You get fit. You got to get fit.
Get someone with the right advice for the fitting, and I think look at your technique. The way that Gareth has with me today has made a huge difference. Like usually these wedge tests are a little more of a struggle for me, so it shows that there's a couple things in your setup even that would help you be better at hitting wedges, and then you also get fit for them. I think you'd improve your ability like big time.
Yeah, and if you haven't done so, go back and look at the live fit we done with Gareth and Matt, and I think take some time to go through that, and you pick out so many nuggets. You probably, to be honest, won't pick them out if you only watch it once. Go through that and watch it a couple of times, and maybe split it up into bite-sized pieces, because I think there's so much on the short game stuff, and then the mid-range and gapping and stuff like that. There's going to be lots to take. Okay, good guys. We're heading over to the putter studio. We've done a lot in the wedges. Some really good info to come on putting. Looking forward to getting into that. Okay, we'll see you again soon.